release this permit. So we then kept calling. So there's a $20,000 permit, an all-com permit, which was supposed to be for building out the bar, coolers, changing out the doors, putting the siding on fixing the siding on the building over there.
Where is that permit?
That's the all-com permit that is existing out there. The problem
I
is...
see that, but it's siding, it's the outside walk-in cooler, which isn't outside anymore.
There's two coolers. That's the problem. Is
Which
they
one's
hacked
outside?
That one right there.
That's outside?
Yeah. It's under roof, and at 75 miles an hour, that fabric has to come off. So it had to be designed to be in flood.
I thought the cooler I inspected was over here.
There's two coolers on that permit. The problem is that they hacked the discrepancy. Cindy Blake changed it whenever the GC pulled off the job because of all the lawsuits. We had 7 personal injury claims in the matter of 4 days. He pulled off the project. So we said, what do we do? She said, okay, we'll put it in your name. What do we have left to still inspect? I said, the problem is that you only can inspect, you only can have a rough and mechanical. You can't call in 2 rough and mechanicals. You can't call in 2, so you rough in this cooler, you can't get that cooler called in.
Well, if they're under the same permit, you can.
No, you could not. In your old system, you could not. So I gave the other day, when I brought in for the extension, I brought in the card, because it kept getting stolen, but the one I have, and it says from the inspector writing, we don't know what to inspect, we're confused, and it kept, they didn't know. There's no paperwork.
Where was your plan?
It was done at by the GC and the,
Did you have a plan on site?
We've had it get stolen about 8,000 times. So the one, every time I have out, then they sign it, and then it, ends up getting stolen again. Just
I'm not talking about the permit card. I'm talking about the plan.
The red stamp plans. I only have what the GC gave me, and I guess that's what they submitted you, which I submitted to you all the other day because they said they didn't have anything in the system at all, so far as any plans.
Who's the GC on the project?
It was Woodson Electric. He's also a general contractor. And the problem was, and it initiated the whole issue, is that we paid him for, he was doing electrical. We paid him for the permit. He did the work. He never pulled the permit with y'all. So when y'all came out, they nailed us with code enforcement, triple fine, and that's what initiated the all-com permit. My plumber had a permit, but he moved the ice machine over to there, so he didn't have that on the permit, so they closed that permit out.
All right, so here we are because we want to try to help you get going with this, but first of all, we got to look at everything and see exactly what work you did and what work wasn't permitted and what work needs to be permitted.
The issue,
and
you know
we
that...
need to, yeah. No, I know.
Is that when which I understand what you're saying, and as a contractor in DC in 5 other states, and
are you a licensed Florida contractor?
Not Florida, because I've been holding, because of all these lawsuits. We were in litigation with you all. We've been in litigation with everything. I didn't want my other licenses to get jeopardized.
You're in litigation with the county?
We've been in litigation, yeah. That's why there was a no entry. Nobody from the county was allowed to enter this property, and that was signed by Angela D'Agostino and my attorneys. In return, I wasn't supposed to contact you all. So it's been a roundabout just cluster because Jim Ringo wrote to my attorney, Scott Ridisile and Mark Barnaby, because I couldn't get inspections. And do I need any permits for any of this? He specifically lists, and I gave it to him the other day, and they scanned it in and I sent it to Ben. Did you bring it? Here's the email. Specifically says I need no permits, no inspections to the CO. And he said, are you sure he lists out these permit numbers, the bar, everything till the end. So he said, are you sure about this? And he said, yes, 100% confirmed. So to us, it's like, this is it's become massively just We've had Swift Mud jump in, put us on a hold for a year and a half. We got Swift Mud finally resolved with Paradise Bay now with the drainage. You know, it's...
Yeah, well, I mean...
I've been working with the fire marshal so far as because of the power meters over there, it's floods.
I mean, you got a lot going on
Yeah.
here. I mean, there's a lot going on here, and we just need to take it piece by piece and see what you need a permit for and what the requirements are going to be.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do that, we can do that.
And you need to pull new permits. You can't add it to the existing permit. And there's been 2 code cycle changes since that permit was pulled.
But anything that was on that should be considered in that original permit.
Well, that was siding, the 1 cooler.
2 coolers is what is the original. I have the original. If you print it out on if you go on your website, it says 2 coolers, 2 doors, 2
Where are the doors? Which doors?
that door and that door right there.
Okay. What about this door here? Are you gonna put a door here?
No.
They're just open? Anybody can
yeah.
walk in?
Yeah.
That's one reason there's unsafe on the building. You have open electrical panels in there and the building's hot. Anybody could walk
That's
in
not
there.
hot out here.
It was hot.
Out
The
here, this has
electrical
never
panel
been-
inside there?
That's not. This out here's not been hot. It's just it's in the box down here. It's not connected. And there's a top box down there. That feeds that box over there,
Okay.
and that's not connected in the air. It's never been hot. It's never been. That part was never been inspected. So
So if a child wandered in there, it would be perfectly safe.
that's why everything was on a central cord. Lights were up high, zip cord to the roof because they couldn't. So
Who actually dug all these holes out here and fractured your foundation of the building? That's really bad.
we had to jackhammer out limestone for the FP&L to put the fire marshal did not want the transformers on the side of the building. Okay, it keeps flooding.
Yeah.
It blew out in 2012. It's 100,000 whatever volts per line. We needed to upgrade it. We were at 158% of that. So they were going to try to put it in the front and then take it to the street. The fire marshal said no. He wanted it back here. So the problem is back here means this is solid limestone all the way down the side. This was never a drainage way. So they went to go try to bore it in. The problem is my grease traps over there, and then when the building collapsed, over there, we had to put
It's definitely in a flood zone.
Yeah, it mustn't be.
When we dug this out, I saw that I never contacted my engineer. Just like I have some broken joints in the kitchen because we kept leaking that he's already got a rough plan and he's trying to get a finalized plan to get submitted to y'all. The problem is that we've not been able to because of my my hood. It was the roof's leaking where my hood is and everything inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I need a new AC. The problem is with new AC, you all want a letter from an engineer saying that the roof can handle it. And the problem is the roof can't handle it. It's got broken joists. So we exposed it to him, and we showed him the reason out. It's HMP Engineering, Phil. And then we had Integra Engineering out here. I've been working with Kerry McCoy over at FP&L for the last 3.5 years, because it's going to blow again. Plus, with the drainage way, I worked with Swift Mud. We put drainage line in here, and then we cased the entire line all the way up to the street in concrete. Their FP&L line, this one line. See, one line feeds the light, and
So
then
this is not for FBL?
FP&L, yeah, and it's 53 feet off the building.
FBL's been looking at it.
Yeah, FP&L's been in here.
Have you done work inside the building? Renovations?
The only thing we've done is take down, like when we had exposed the beams, we had to pull some of the insulation down, and then any of the wires that were unsafe, we brought them back to the boxes.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of this original stuff that had no grounds and they weren't grounding. So that's when I called Sarah when she was still here and told her, how do I change? And we needed open Delta 3-phase. What's the process in changing that? What do we need to do? Because everybody says you can't do anything until that permit's closed out. This permit is also contingent on the parking plan. So there's a hold on this that CMP permit
Yeah.
till the parking plan's done.
I would strongly suggest that you secure the services of a professional architect, an engineer, and have him analyze exactly what it is that you've done here. Explain to him where you want to go with this, and have him, present a set of plans to the county for approval.
I mean, I've got a rough set of plans already for structural stuff that needs to get fixed, where it is, but the issue.
Well, we can't do this on a piecemeal basis.
That's
on
the
a
problem.
separate permit. That's the
Right
problem.
there.
And
That's the problem.
But it's
one of the
because the
issues-
CMP permit can't close out because the zoning's got a hold on it.
Okay.
So can we get zoning
That-
to release?
That's
the
another
hold?
part of the problem, is we're mixing issues of zoning versus Florida building code.
I understand.
Okay, that is a huge problem. Here you're asking Jim about whether you need a permit or not. He's not the person you
He
should
was
be asking.
the contact.
He's saying you
Ringo-
don't. The county, Peter
sorry.
does not need further authorization from the county to proceed with the work originally permitted for the bar area. That's not his authority. That's part of
I
the
know.
problem. You're talking to two people who have two separate, totally clearly defined responsibilities.
And he was
So-
put by what's his name? Robert Wenzel assigned him
Yep.
as the point of contact for everything because it was
Right.
8
So
zillion different
I
departments.
think what would help if you keep a mindset of we've got zoning issues, we've got Florida building issues.
I agree.
And what he's describing is we're here for Florida building code issues.
Yeah.
Okay? And he has an excellent suggestion, Bill. And that is to get it. You don't have any one set of plans that completely details everything you're doing here.
I do.
And-
I bring you what I have for now.
Well,
from HNP. right
Not
now.
really. I don't need to
Yeah.
see it.
I'm saying
I know one
I have
doesn't
HNP.
exist. I know one doesn't exist for the entire scope of work.
No, I'm saying for the building, what the joists, the structure, what's load-bearing walls, where the
Yeah.
footings are, how big the footings
We
are.
need the whole.
We need the whole
Whole
story,
plan.
man, and get it all on one set of plans
Yeah.
so we can. And in line with that, it is my understanding that you are subject to the FEMA regulation.
Yes.
So in addition to that, we need a cost breakdown of what what all this is costing.
And that's exactly.
And if we
what-
can get through that, man, I mean, we're done.
Yeah, that would just be
We're
fine.
done. And then go handle your zoning issues with Jim. If they're holding you up on
But
first
they
of all,
won't close
was
that
thi-
permit out.
Okay, but first of all, this was a restaurant prior.
It's been, yeah. It was
Okay,
all-
so you're not looking for a certificate of occupancy. You're looking for a certificate of completion.
Yes.
Your certificate of occupancy never went away.
Yeah.
See, that's where they're confusing you, telling you stuff that they're not really authorized to be telling.
What they're trying to say is that outdoor area doesn't have a it doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, but the rain restaurant does.
Yeah, it's
Is-
you're going to get a certificate of completion.
I've
when
already
you're
got
done.
yeah.
When you're done.
Yeah.
You've got a CO. That doesn't
I know.
go
I
away.
got a certificate of completion.
You
for
can
the
serve
outdoor.
in there if you want. If you think you're safe enough
No, I
to
mean
do so.
we were everything was fine
Yeah,
until
yeah.
3 years ago when this section this
Yeah.
thing kept flooding. The whole issue was Swift Mud tried to get with Manatee County and FDOT
Yeah.
that they were diverting the water down through
Yeah.
here. It all comes to this property and it was washing my building out.
Right.
They tried to get them to do something. They
Okay.
because of legal stuff they
Yeah.
wouldn't do
Again,
it.
And again,
site related.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
and-
not us.
but that's
And-
causing damage to the
Yeah.
And
building
again,
and
that's
additional
why-
cost. Then
Yeah.
when you get the FEMA, if it's
I don't know how that works.
That's
Yeah, I
why.
don't
That's
know.
why I'm suggesting
Yeah.
that you secure the services of a professional architect and a professional engineer, because quite frankly, they're the only ones that are really going to help you get through this process with Swift Mud.
I'm fine with Swift Mud now.
Okay.
Swift Mud.
This is good. I'm
Alright,
100% clear with
well,
Swift
yeah,
Mud. I'm
I mean, you
100%.
clearly have a lot vested at this point.
I have tons.
Clearly. So it's hard to imagine that what we're requesting in the way of documents is going to be a deal killer.
Yeah, it's tracing every bit wire with every size footing underneath there. I mean, that's almost. I mean, even if you get a sonar machine,
Yeah.
with how old this building in 1945 is when it was built, that's going to be almost impossible because there's pipes after pipes. There's foundation under foundation here.
So you're telling me an engineer cannot determine what you need to do here?
They can structurally determine what needs to be so far as load on the roof, again, which he's working on now. And if there's any beefing up of any walls, one thing we did suggest, which I talked to Stephanie originally was about, is this area here, since obviously it's not going to carry anything, if we could put a bigger, I know the footing over there is huge, but
Well, that's talk discussion you
Yeah.
need to have with your engineer.
but it's what are you all going to allow? Because
If
we've
an
been told-
engineer puts his seal on it, he's telling me what's going to work.
you all issue another permit.
I don't know how we need to clean that up. Yeah, I mean,
That's what we get told me we're
Yeah.
going to issue another permit. That's sort of
Right.
where we've been.
We need a
that's why
complete-
that's open right now.
We need a complete set
You know.
of plans. We need a complete set of
you're
plans.
detailing
to
everything you do.
to cover the-
Maybe we can submit it as a revision to this one.
No.
No, a new
No,
permit?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the code
Yeah.
cycles.
You
Yeah.
have
But you
to-
Oh,
can't,
okay.
you can't go though.
Okay.
If you, on energy code or any of that other stuff, I mean, you're gonna if equipment's already here, you're gonna bring me up to every 6 years of code.
It
change?
shouldn't change much, right? It shouldn't change much, if anything.
I mean, the
What-
wind
what-
after
what's
Irma,
gonna
wind-
affect
wind
the
change
most-
After Irma.
What it's going to affect the most is your thermal envelope. I mean, right now you're trying to insulate, or you're trying to cool spaces that probably don't have the correct amount of insulation. So that might need to be put in.
Yeah.
But the units and stuff, you're okay with, right?
What you have to be very careful with, because you are in flood, is the amount of dollars that you're
Yeah.
spending.
Yeah, I
You
know,
don't
but
want
we
to
have-
break the 50%
We've
rule.
been dealing with the Bridge Street, and
Okay.
I'm very familiar with the
So
falling
we-
in there. The question though is if it's
Yeah.
it, when you read the FEMA code, there's, I guess, alleyways in there that are for, if it's not because of damage, because of the of a natural disaster or an improvement, then some of those items are not. But it has to be signed off by the CBO,
The only
the
items.
chief building official,
The
which.
only
Which is life safety issues and that which CJ Dupree before signed off on several
Sir,
things.
sir. I'm the CBO.
Okay.
The only thing that isn't included in FEMA calculations is anything that's not attached to the building.
Mhm.
That's it. So, what questions can I answer for you to help you?
I'll
get
give,
going
I'll
with
give,
this?
I'll give you an example which we just found out.
No,
is,
what questions can I help you
yeah,
out
no,
with
this is a
to
good
help
question.
you get started
Yeah.
with your project?
So the hood that you all permitted was permitted from y'all. Y'all signed off on it. It was missing a fan. It was missing. The calculations are not even close to being correct. I got an engineer and captive air on it, but it was signed off by you all, and we wonder why we're melting units, controller panels. So how do we fix that? I mean, that's not. It was
What are we
prior to
talking
me.
I do not know.
I didn't know there was a hood replacement.
In
In
2012.
2013, there
Okay.
was the application. Then my first husband passed away.
That's
It was
before-
never
It was
closed.
way before most
Yeah.
of our
And
time.
and
Yeah.
They never put
2016
one of
it
the
was
hood.
closed.
It was only pulling 1,800 CFM on a 12.5 foot head, and
Did you follow the engineering?
it was prior to me. I don't.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
no,
discovered
he discovered it.
I discovered
Yeah.
it, so I've been working with Captain Bear to rectify. But how do you go about fixing stuff
You
that?
have to get an engineer to determine what's required. How much airflow is required? We're not.
Oh yeah, no,
we're
no.
not-
I've already
we're not
got
designers.
Captive Air and them. We're already working on it. We already have a
See, a lot of these
resolution. The
questions-
question is, how do I go about like that one issue is going to then determine the load on the roof with the additional fans and everything
Well,
else.
see, you don't
So I
need to
sort
worry
of-
about that because that's why you hire a licensed engineer and a licensed architect because they'll look at this and they'll figure it all out for you.
Have you talked to an architect and engineer right now? And
I
see how
talk to
they're a
architects
year
and
out.
engineers every day for the last
But they're a year
50
out
years.
right now.
Hmm?
They're a year out.
But you've
Well,
been
I mean,
5 years on this.
Is this 3 when this class?
It's a 2017 permit. we're
No, I'm
talking
saying this corner class is when we weren't able to open. Is when that whole issue, when this whole section that caved in. So that's when we haven't been open. You know, the issue is that till this parking plan is signed off, the parking plan doesn't work.
Okay.
There's so many people that need to everybody needs to sit down and figure out how do we fix these issues and what's the process of fixing
Okay.
them.
Well, we've clearly denoted what we need. Okay, again, the site plan, the parking, all that, that's a separate issue. That's a separate department. They don't answer to us, and we don't answer to them. So I don't know what else we could do in the way of other than suggest what Bill is saying. Get your design professional, get everything drawn up, give us the cost breakdown, and I don't know what else could help us move forward. If there was another avenue, I would absolutely suggest it, but I don't know what other avenue I could suggest at this point.
Sometimes if you get an engineer that's involved with multiple engineers, you can go, it's called private provider.
Yeah.
And then
The
they
inspection.
Yeah.
do, yes.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
inspection. Yeah. And
And that-
Phil did the.
Something like this, what might need to happen,
yeah.
because it's like an area you can't do all at once, because quite honestly, you really can't start up in here until you
Stabilize this.
Yes, and that over there as well. You know, any place where your foundation's fractured, that's where you got to start. And an engineer is the only person that can make that determination of what to do.
Is that a metal door?
It's gotta be the same.
It's composite door.
Right. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, that's all I know. Trust me.
That's
It's all impact rated, composite, sealed, same thing the other one. They were, before they weren't, so that's why we changed them out.
Okay.
So you follow what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah.
But and as he's saying
But
too,
if
they'll
I
put
got to
it all
submit
in
the
one
permit, he would then do the inspection.
Well,
Or can he?
He can do both if he
Yeah.
wants.
yeah.
He can.
He
Yeah.
can stamp it and inspect it.
Well,
and
no,
send
he
it
can.
at once,
He
or-
can do the plans review and inspect it.
So Phil's the one I've been working with.
Phil
on-
Stalinsky?
Yeah. Bridge Street and here.
If that guy can't get you out of it, then I don't know who
Yeah,
can.
he's did everything for Bridge
Yeah.
Street. He did all the other engineering
Yeah.
here. He's
Yeah.
done. He's the one that's doing all the trip fixing of the joists in
Right.
the kitchen.
Yeah, I see his plans
Because
every
that's
week.
what they'll do. They'll
Yeah.
submit it all in there.
Yeah.
And as they go, if they find something else, they can always do a revision. But what Bill's saying is that if you put everything on the permit that's required of what your plan is, because you have to have a plan of attack, where you're going to start. And it definitely is at the foundation, then to the trusses, and then you move on to, like your AC unit you're talking about that you want to put up on the roof and all. I mean, they'll take care of all that.
Yeah. I mean, this was all
Did you need that
done
back?
until they said
Thank
we
you.
need to put the transformers right here. I'm going to jackhammer around, and we were going to jackhammer that. It's still,
Because
that's 12 feet deep.
that's why I put the soft wood.
Yeah.
in
So
that, because
that's when I noticed that. And when we didn't see that when it originally fell, I know from here to here how big that is. I can put it that, and I think that's the kind of one that comes out 2 feet and goes down 2.5 feet all the way around over that way. But this is the old section. This has been reinforced all underneath 187 yards. That's the only section that isn't there. FPL, they have values in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that how they want. So
See, back in the as we were saying before, that's part of the foundation reinforcement. That should have been on a plan for us to inspect. That's a lot of waste of concrete, quite honestly. I mean, it's really.
it kept washing away into aquifer, the sugar sand.
Oh,
Kept
yeah.
washing away and floating. So we had to stop. We had to get it to stop. That was why we ended up doing that.
Wow, yeah.
I mean,
It's like a
that's
truck right there.
187 yards is up there. The whole thing goes all the way around. This whole
Does it
thing.
really?
Yeah, whole thing's solid. It's all solid. All this. All around the building. All this.
Let's get it, man.
Right
Yeah.
now, if we put our grease
Here.
up there, they sign up and all that.
Got you have any other questions for us?
No, I mean I'll submit it. I just got to figure out, if I can't close the one permit out, I guess I got to get who do I get with over there because they're not responding. So I
I'm
don't
ready
know how
to close out which permit?
If the other permit, the inspections on the other permit, or they have a hold on any other permit.
What is that scope of
Zoning.
work? The other permit you keep saying?
The one you have,
Oh,
that
The,
one.
the siding, the walk-in cooler.
we might just void that, right?
Good.
I mean, you're not ready to close it out.
It might be best.
It's
would
not.
just-
It's you're not.
Yeah.
It's not ready to close
We
out.
The
could just
only thing that's
incorporate-
left on that I know of, that was left on that permit was the electrical for the outside bar. There was that panel out there in rough end.
What about
and
the siding?
And this was already done. This is rotted out, but it collapsed. So I just have to give you a new permit for this. This is a new
Okay.
permit.
What siding did
This
that
was all-
include?
This was all
No.
done.
The permit included siding,
He
the
did
one you're talking
all
about.
this
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can't close it out. It's
He
not
already,
done.
but they already inspected it. This is new damage because of the collapse.
Okay. Well,
So
it requires
that'd
a
be a
permit
new-
to put that
That would be a
back
new
on.
permit, right?
I think, you know, to be honest with you, I mean, we don't really have to worry about this permit right now.
Yeah.
I would, again, get, you know, secure the service of a licensed architect, a licensed engineer, have them look at your building, you know, determine what, you know, what they need as far as design goals, what you need, and where you want to go to get it completed. And then when you're ready to submit those plans, we can deal with this other permit that's out there. But you're going to have to come up with a set of drawings of the complete project.
Don't-
That gives us plans that completes this where you're ready to do business.
And we should be able to see that it doesn't hold up that permit. This one. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll make that work.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
don't worry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah,
permit.
don't worry about
It
that.
just Ben keeps calling and saying we're going, taking me to magistrate court and days, you know, going to them saying that I can't close anything out. I can't get, I couldn't get any inspections, and it's like my
Yeah.
attorneys, and it's just, it's never ending.
So how long do you think it'll take you to, you know, get with an architect and engineer?
I've already, with Phil's has been out here 4 times already. I've already got preliminary all.
Tell
the-
him to give me a call if he needs to.
Yeah.
Tell him to call Sam.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Talk to him every week.
Sam?
Sam.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah. So I mean,
They know me. I mean,
Yeah,
I have
in
no
a good
trouble
way.
working
I mean, he
with
did
you.
my Bridge Street on
Huh?
In a
on
good
Bridge
way.
Street too.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done several things.
He's done a ton of stuff in Manatee County, all right?
Yeah.
This is his forte.
Yeah.
Is fixing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Okay? I rarely see him do new stuff.
He's very good.
Yeah.
he is very good. Yeah, he knows he knows what we need.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, stabilize, away, whatever you need to plan for stabilization of this. And then we need to figure out where FP&L is going to put theirs.
The whole thing,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
again,
whole
you need a
thing.
plan for the whole
Because he
thing.
doesn't do.
He doesn't
He
do
wouldn't
that
decide.
he doesn't do civil work.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would have to be added to.
That's I would think that's a site plan approval thing. You'd be talking to Rob Wenzel and James Riga for that.
Yeah. Zoning.
I know.
Zoning, right.
They're not communicating. So.
I think they will. Once you get on track and get a good plan going.
We had
will
everything.
come
We
in
had
order.
everything. We had all the planners done, everything else. The bar was done. Everything was getting ready to open, and we had an issue with a gentleman when we got COVID in August. Came and demoed and all of the planning boxes, demoed all of the bar, took the, cut through the slab. I mean, it was
Okay.
complete.
What's all the blocks for out there?
Because he ripped all the planning boxes out, and the planning boxes are required for the parking plan. So instead of see the powder coated frames, and then there was wood, so like this here, and then there's wood behind them, and there's tile. He ripped all of them out, and those hide all the bollards, all the irrigation, everything in there.
like
When
this
we had
long?
COVID, he took everything out. Yeah, a 30 inches tall.
It-
So in order to get, the cost of plywood, cost of powder coating, aluminum, you said let's just go put the block back and stucco it, and that meets the requirement for the parking plan.
I thought, yeah.
And then put the plans
And it
back
hides
in.
all the bollards.
That's all. That's hides all the bollards, and that's what the block's here for.
Uh,
The the issue there was when they came back afterwards and added all the bollards, then there was no drainage. So when they took that out, I was connecting the drainage. So all the drainage comes into my property, and then my drainage line system that comes down through here, then goes back down this. So with Swift Mud's approval, I put a line in for Paradise Bay. I put a 24-inch line in here, and then all my gutters will just connect directly in here and go down, and
Is that
they're
what
done.
these are? For your gutters?
Yeah, like these are 2 gutter lines right there. Those are gutters that come out. up
we
there.
got to get to that other appointment now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's the only reason.
Is that house part of this property? Yeah, right. Did the parking problem be over?
It's
How you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, all right.
Okay.